Welcome viewers, round 3 action. Looking forward to this one at the wonderful Okayama track in the middle of Japan. We are with you for the SRA Sim Racer Asia Series, brought to you by Apex TV in conjunction with iRacing.com. My name's Brenton O'Brien. With me tonight in the booth, not Alex Simpson, he's doing the directing work and giving our friend Scotty Newton a hand in the background. We've got Jake Blackall in the box with us. Jake, welcome to late night here in Australia, Saturday night. Looking forward to this race a hell of a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Brenton, and welcome everyone. It's going to be an interesting race. A lot of GT3 cars here at the beautiful Okayama circuit, and the field right now in the middle of qualifying. We're a little bit towards the end. There's about 2 minutes left in qualifying. We've got Benjamin Smith on provisional pole with Anthony Winkleman behind him, which would definitely mix up the field a little bit. And it's just going to be an interesting race, Brenton. 45-minute race distance. It's very short, and it could change the field and lead for some different strategy.
Short track, you're right, and we've got 57 cars that are going to be lining up at the grid. 57 cars for this 3.72 kilometre track, 11 turns here at, like I said, in Japan. Track temperature for the weather, it's mostly cloudy, and the track temperature is 36 degrees, winds from the west 6 kilometres an hour. So track temperature is fairly favourable, so some good times. We've got 1.5 minutes to go of qualifying, and so far it really has been very, very favoured towards the Mercedes-Benz. There's going to be a lot of people watching this race. In 2 weeks and 1 hour's time, the BES Pro, the Blancpain Endurance Series Pro Series starts, and there's going to be a lot of teams still working out what car they want. Right now, the Mercedes-Benz on pole, provisional pole, BMW, Mercedes. So there's going to be a lot of people watching.
Yeah, and especially with that Blancpain Endurance Series coming up, it's just going to make some people wonder what is going to be the personal choice for a lot of these teams. And at the moment, yeah, it definitely looks like Mercedes is on top. The Beamers are still mixing it up as well as some McLarens. It's definitely personal preference, and it's good to see some of these series having a lot of mixed cars. The Audi's in there as well, just hovering around. It may not be as strong this week, but on some other tracks it could be stronger. It'll just give these guys a little bit of an insight, and they may make the decision based off the series that they can watch during the week.
Got to give a shout out to our host Mark Lang again. Runs a wonderful series. He's been doing this for many years now. So Mark, congratulations to you. We've got a massive field again. Every week it's just such competition to try and get yourself onto this grid, and yeah, the racing is going to be tight. It's going to be spectacular. Just a shout out for the rules tonight. Sorry, mention for the rules. Don't need to take fuel, but you do need to make a pit stop at some stage. It is as simple as a stop go. So turn your fuel off, turn your tyres off, stop, go. As qualifying is coming to the end now. Tim Jackson in the car number 99 is on a fairly quick lap, but he's going to have a bit of competition here. Carlos Fu's going to be in front of him. It's going to block him. So I'm thinking, I'm not sure what Jackson wanted. At the moment, he's in 4th position in the Evolution Racing Australia car. Just picked up some new sponsorship this week. We will go into that with MPMS Racing Simulators. But we'll just stay on board here because he has shown the potential late now to make a bit of a difference. He's 2/1000ths of a second ahead of Mick Hammond. I reckon he might have lost a bit of time there. Just lost the back end a little bit. But let's see how he goes as he comes around this last little section here past the pit lane. So second last turn, last corner now, 3rd gear corner, hard on the power, use all of the track on the exit. He needs to improve a 907. If he can get up on a 907, he crosses the line. A 27.890 does improve, passes his teammate Simon Feigl. I can't see too many more times coming in. Jake, I will pass that over to you.
Yeah, so let's run through the grid here. That was interesting qualifying session. Jacko taking 3rd, but on the front row we got Benjamin Smith, alongside him Anthony Winkleman. Then we got Timothy Jackson in 3rd with Simon Feigl in 4th. Michael Hammond in 5th with Danny Conlon in 6th. Jake Maloney in 7th with Alex Zerny in 8th. Jason Bentz in 9th and Fenny Lazardi in 10th. The rest of the field on your screen. So a lot of drivers in here, 57 cars with the race 45 minutes, so it's going to be short. That pit stop, like you said, Brenton, it's going to shake it up. And well, where will these guys pit? That's the thing that's going to play into their mind. The tyres will be fine, but definitely that little bit of strategy will come into it.
Yeah, well, you're not going to need tyres, you're not going to need fuel, so really it is wholly solely to stay out of traffic. What we're going to do, though, is also go through some of the championships that have been running at the moment. The Clubman Drivers' Championship, Gary Cousins for Laser Racing in the Mercedes leads that by 6 points over Chris Powley in the Audi in 23 Racing. That's Peter Sattler's just done the one race with Daniel Leet. Also doing just the one race, Federico Tixiera and Ben Twytle, Lance Hawes, Jacek Frajek, Simon Jorge Sanchez and Alex Marshall will round out the top 10 in that field. So the Clubman's Drivers' Championship is always a good championship to keep your eyes on. We've also got other championships going. Obviously, we've talked about the Clubman's Drivers' Championship. Sorry, my mouse is just going all over the place at the moment. And if we just quickly open up the Pro-Am drivers, the overall, Kevin Huang for Archipelago Racing leads with 80 points, just in front of Anthony Winkelmann, who's put in another good qualifying performance tonight in the BMW. Hyun So Lee, the McLaren, the Marquis, One Racing Korea. Matthew Trotman in the Audi. Mick Hammond we see in the car number 1 Mercedes for Laser Racing. Nathan Grouden, Jason Bentz, Tobias Cherney, winner of last week at Spa Dongwu Gang, and Paul Lonergan will round out that top 10 for their cars. Are slowly lining up behind the safety car. If we go to the team championship, the Marquis One Korea Racing has got a 5-point lead over Laser Racing. Archipelago Racing about 30 points behind on 168 points. Green Hornet, Angry Birds Racing, Delta Simsport, Rensport Online, the privateers will run a conjunct 8th, Eurasia Simsport and Alex's team Apex Racing UK in a draw with Macau Racing Team for 10th and 11th will round out that. So it's going to be a fantastic race. Always expect some really, really interesting things here. The cars are just lining up slowly behind the safety car here. Just got to do the last half a lap and wow, the racing will be up and away in not long at all.
Yeah, racing will be underway pretty quickly. Look at all those cars behind this safety car around this small, tight circuit. It just goes to show the series that Mark Lang has put on, the amount of people that he's been able to bring in, and it's definitely one of these races that in series, a lot of people need to get in on it. It's close racing, it's hard-fought racing, and it can go to show with these grid numbers. And as they start to roll off Brenton, let's see if they can all make it around lap 1.
Yeah, well, hopefully they will. Anthony Winkelmann's a bit of a rose in the thorns there. He's got surrounded by Mercedes-Benz. But the MPMS Mercedes of Ben Smith, congratulations to him for grabbing pole position in what is his first Sim Racers Asia race. So we're just slowly behind. He's actually got the 3 MPMS Evolution Racing Australia cars around him. So obviously they've got that car tweaked up pretty well this week. The safety car disappears. Ben Smith is in control of this large field. And don't worry, the ERA guys, they'll be on TeamSpeak to each other. They'll know exactly when Ben Smith's about to jump. And away. And it's a very, very clean start so far, but there's still cars coming around the last turn. Anthony Winkelmann has done a really good job, doesn't get his nose in there. The 2 ERA cars battling away for 3rd and 4th. It all looks pretty clean so far. If you can just keep an eye in the background there, Jake, sorry. It does look like a clean start. Jake Maloney just being caught a little bit wide there in the Mercedes. There really is a plethora of Mercedes-Benz, and Anthony Winkelmann is up amongst all of those.
Yeah, we've got one car in the fence, actually, one of the Audis of Evolution Racing Australia, Zachary Hanlon. He's in the fence. No one else hit him, so it looks like everyone else has managed to avoid him, but he hit the fence very hard there. And besides that, there's another crash coming up over the hill there, coming onto the back straight. Another couple of cars into each other, but clean start up front, back, a little bit of contact, a little bit of carnage going on.
Well, up in the front, though, Ben Smith has done a really good job here in this opening lap. This guy's had no time in the race. It's actually been working hard. And we're just having a look. Nathan Groudon's got a bit of an issue. And yeah, that BMW is an absolute mess. So the Green Hornets car there of Nathan Groudon, I think the car 34 in 21st. I don't know if he's there at the moment. He's hemorrhaging spots very badly at the moment. I would say that his car is done, cooked toast, and it will be over.
Yeah, a lot of cars got involved, all that coming up through Adwood Curve. They all got involved in a lot of carnage there. A couple of cars made contact and that was it. But yeah, up front, Ben Smith's got a good jump and good jump as well from Anthony Winkleman to pull into second in front of those two other MPMS Evolution Racing Australia Mercedes. They've definitely got the jump, and he can hopefully just sit in there and hold them off and maybe try and bring in Benjamin Smith, who looks like he's got the quicker legs at the moment.
The tactics have already started. Paul Rogers from 34th position, 37th position, he's just hemorrhaging now, 41st in the car 555, has had his pit stop already. So I think if you're caught amongst the traffic, that is exactly the idea that you want to do. We've got some dramas at the back. I think I saw Jacek Frazek. Matthew Trotman has also had a problem. He has left the service. So issues all round at the moment. But it is a big field. It's a tight track. There are always going to be problems here on this track.
Yeah, we've got Charles Teresa and I think it's Peter Sattler in the fence at the moment through the Moss S curve, and there was major contact between a lot of cars there. They've all just started to get going, but yeah, there are a lot of damaged cars at the moment, which is sort of just dwindling this field down. But out in front, Benjamin Smith still got that lead comfortably over Anthony Winkleman and the two other ERA cars, and they're just wondering what they're going to be doing. If Ben can try and stretch this gap, you can maybe come in a bit later, but you wouldn't want to come in early from this position because, yeah, you're going to be stuck in that traffic, Brenton, and as soon as you get stuck in there, it's just not going to help you.
No, there's absolutely no need for any of these guys probably in the top 10 to even consider doing a pit stop. And let's face it, it is really effectively a stop-go. There's nothing more to it than that, but by the time you slow down the pit lane down to your 60 k's an hour, take that half a second stop, and then you're up and away again, you're going to be losing so much time behind the cars that you're waiting for. Ben Smith's last lap of 1:28.1. Let's just compare that to our guy in 10th place at 1:29.1 for Kevin Huang. Let's compare that again back to the 20th place position, a 1:33.2. So there's a 4-second difference being caught in the traffic. There's no need whatsoever for the lead guys to make a pit stop.
Yeah, that's right. There's no need for them to do that. But just having a look back, we've got Alex Cherney and Jason Bentz here for P8 and P9. They're having a good little scrap. Bentz was alongside Alex Cherney, wasn't able to get the job done, but he's going to have another little bit of contact there going into the hairpin. Managed to keep it together. He's going to have another look, which slots in behind him. So these two going at it hard for 8 and 9 right now. While they keep battling, this top 7 cars in front of them just keep pulling away, and that's what they'll like to see. Just let these two battle and maybe just get a little bit of a gap.
Yeah, well, Alex's brother Tobias had a good win last week in the McLaren at Spa, so the old dog's still got some good legs. Tyres are the issue for the McLaren. Everybody knows that those tyres on the McLaren, it's a heavy car, just had 10 kilos added to it in the last build there, so it's put all the weight that I lost a couple of seasons ago, it's found it all again. Jenny Craig, eat your heart out, because it did not work, because Alex Cherney is doing a good job here, up into 8th position. He'd be happy with that. Started in 8th, so has held on fairly well to that position.
Yeah, and he's the lead McLaren at the moment in amongst a whole bunch of Mercedes, so he's doing really well at the moment. Started high up and he's holding that on, but Benz is all over the back of him. He may have another look as he comes through the Mosses up into Atwood curve. May have another look, just thought better of it, maybe get a run down this back straight and have another look going down into the hairpin, but these two are definitely at it while this first front 7 cars start to spread away. And just having a look now, we've got Timothy Jackson with Simon Feigl. They'll be letting each other know the teammates here. I think Feigel's going to have a look down in the hairpin, but thinks better of it, so wonder whether there may be some team orders, whether Simon may just get around Jacko, because it may look like he has the quicker speed at the moment, and they don't want Michael Hammond behind starting to get amongst it.
Yeah, it does look like Jacko's holding up Simon a little bit. Hopefully, there's not going to be any team orders. I can guarantee it, there is no team orders, but there is common sense. Now, a couple of rules: don't bend it, don't break it. They'll know that, but they also might. And there's a car on the wall there as well, just trying to sneak on out. Hopefully, that wasn't in front of anyone there. It looked like it was fairly clean by himself there, but yeah, the Jackson car looks like it's just off pace a little bit. Here we are saying cars off pace. He's just done a 28.6 the lap before. He's going to cross the strike this lap, and he's done a 29.1. I do think Simon Feigel's got his measure behind him.
Yeah, that's right, and it's the gap as well that they're losing to second and first in front of them, Ben Smith and Anthony Winkleman, that will maybe want Simon to push Jacko a little bit harder to keep him going. And they've also got a couple of cars behind him, like Hammond and Maloney, and then you've also got Danny Conlon as well behind them, so they've got a bit of a gap there, as Jason Betts has actually gotten around Alex Cherney there for P number 8, so that position has changed, and up front these guys are still single file, and it'll be just wondering what Simon's going to do, whether he can get around Jack or he's just going to sit behind him right now.
Isn't it unbelievable how quick the trends of the GT3 can change? Like, not so long ago, it was all the rough, then it became the McLaren, the BMW. Let's have a look at this. It's a Mercedes-a-thon at the moment, it really is. You take away our second placeman, Anthony Winkelmann, it's Mercs all the way. Danny Conlon did a really solid job last week at Spa, was actually leading the race for a considerable amount of time, had a bit of a stumble there, and had to get right out of it, and issues there. But in the meantime, this battle continues between Simon Feigl and Tim Jackson. Yeah, just having a look at the lap in front, 28.5 for Winkelmann, 29.1 for Jackson. So the lap now it's out to just over 2 seconds between second and third. You probably want to be close. Actually, now it's close to 3 seconds. So a really good time. The lead between first and second is just first and second.
Yeah, and that's the thing, that gap's just opening up a little bit, and it's also opening up behind them between Jason Bent, so just a little bit of a gap at the moment is starting to open up. But here goes Feigl having a look at Timothy Jackson, thought better of it and sat behind him, but he may have another look coming down through the hairpin. But they're actually starting to catch Hammond. Hammond may have made a little mistake there, and Maloney may be able to have a look on him.
And I'm thinking, whilst there is that little bit of a gap, might be an opportunity for these two boys to swap if they're thinking of doing that at all. No, they're not. Now, Tim Jackson was well in control of last week's race, lost it in La Source, would have had that race won. He knows that, so he's had a week to think about where he went wrong last week. And this is a guy who does a great amount of work with the ERA team, sets these cars up, and has got them performing extremely well tonight. 1, 3, and 4.
Yeah, definitely got them running really well up front, and also just back on the fact that the Mercedes, behind the Mercedes, it's a trio of 4, a quadruple of 4
Yep.
McLarens. So the McLarens are still up there and having a go. It's the only car that's sort of the odd one out is Anthony Winkelmann in the BMW in second. He's the only one that's sort of just out of place at the moment in between them, but he's definitely holding his own in that BMW, and may make some interesting aspect for some of those BES teams that will be looking at wondering whether this car will be the right choice for them. But it certainly looks like at the moment that trend has certainly switched to the Mercedes.
I'm actually on board the Kevin Huang car at the moment in 10th position, the car 212. It's a remarkable livery that the Archipelago Racing team are running there. Jake, you might know a bit more about it. How much work goes into that? That's an awesome original looking livery with the planet Earth there and just deep space throughout the rest of the car. A lot of work would have gone into that.
Yeah, it actually did. Being the designer of those Archipelago Racing cars, that was a lot of work getting that Earth map to wrap around the front, especially with the seams. So those cars took a lot of time, but it definitely pays off when you see them out on the track. They look really cool. It's something different that you don't see a lot of people attempt, and just having that little bit of a different aspect in this series, it definitely also shows the Asian market and how the worldwide global success of this series that they're trying to push towards. And it's certainly got that 57 cars on the grid, and the racing is close. It definitely just brings to that little bit to the team.
And not so long ago, a couple of weeks ago, the trend was with the Audis as well. The first Audi that we've got running, Dong Kil Kim, at the moment in the car. Sorry, no, actually, he's only hanging on to the tail. He's had an off. So he's in position 44. So he's hanging on to the tail there. So you need to go quite a long way back to find our first Audi, Alex Marshall, in the Apex Racing Simputers car there. In the car 89 in 14th, having a pretty lonely race, it has to be said. I'm still actually looking for our first Audi.
P19 is the first of the Audis in B19, Mart Chinosky. So that is a long way back, and he's just a fair way off the pace in the Audi. But like you're saying, the Audi was the one that everyone wanted. But just looking back now, Adam Utri has got Dick Bailey.
Sorry.
Go on, Brenton.
Yeah, sorry, the car in the car 264 in position 24. That's Chung Yong Kim in the McLaren. Really deep under brakes there. Didn't quite get that move to stick with Dick A. Lee and Adam Utri in front. So this is a good little effort here. We've got the Mercedes, the BMW, and the McLaren all running a neck and neck. So we might be able to see some performance differences at the moment. 1 minute 30.5 as the last lap for Adam Utri. these guys have had a great little battle. I've been watching them for the last lap or so, getting right amongst it. And I can tell you right now that Dick Lee is looking really, really frisky.
Yeah, he looks like he really wants to get around Adamutri and just makes a little mistake. Open the door up for Ching Yong Kim. May have another look around the outside, but he's going to stick in behind him. So in front of that, a little bit of a mistake there from Dickie Lee going into the hairpin, ran a bit wide and just opened the door a little bit. He's lost a bit of ground at Adamutri, but Adamutri's actually locked the brake, locked the rear on the grass and just ran wide, and he's going to lose 2 spots. Maybe he'll be able to hold on to the next one. He does just, so he's let Dick Lee through and he's lost that 1 spot, but wow, a little mistake there and he's gone straight through.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Chung Yong Kim's going to get really bitey now, 24th position. This is a guy who's normally further up the grid here, so the McLaren's probably certainly not the favoured car of choice here, but he's got a really, really good run here, as he showed last lap that he was so deep under brakes, not getting the job done here. So as they enter turn 1, 24th, 23rd, and that's that little mistake that you talked about with Adamutri. Might have just released the car in front, that of Dick Lee, who's been very, very experienced. And we go to a position in the 6th position. And we'll
there's a battle going on here. Sorry, there we've got a battle between Maloney and Michael Hammond. This battle has been brewing for a little bit. Hammond dropped off the back of Simon Feigl and is now into the clutches of Maloney. He's brought another couple of Mercedes with him. He's got Danny Conlon behind him, as well as Jason Bentz, who only was passing the Alex Zerny a couple of laps ago. So he's actually caught the back of this pack and he's really working his way up there. But it looks like Hammond doesn't have the pace at the moment on Maloney, and he's just dropping off. But Maloney doesn't have that much more pace to be able to have a little charge and have a look, so he's just sitting in behind him. A 29.454 from Michael Hammond that last lap to Maloney's 29.6, so he actually gained a couple of tenths and maybe just be able to hold on for another lap.
Okay, you're in the car 100 in position number 8, you're Jason Bentz. You've caught up to this pack so quickly to the point where they're now probably slowing you down a tenth, maybe 2 tenths. Do you consider pitting? We're on lap 10. We're about 14 minutes into the race, 15 minutes into the race. I would think no, to be honest. I think he's just going to have to bite the bullet here and see if they can create that gap with himself, Danny Conlon, and Jake Maloney in front in the TTL Mercedes. But this is certainly a train at the moment with Mick Hammond leading that train. It's a fast train though. It's one that's going to be pulling away from the rest of the field behind.
Yeah, that's right. And just one thing that we've got to look at is already lap traffic. Ben Smith's already passed. Yep. He's maybe had another look, and he's on the inside. He's going to maybe get that one to stick. He's going to still be on the inside coming to the first of these Redmen corner at the moment. He's going to have a look, and he's got that one done. He was clean, or has he? Danny is still holding it tough on the inside, and he's going to maybe hold on. Ben's got the better drive, and it's done. So better drive there from Jason Benson. He's got that one done, and he's moved up another position there into P7.
He looks quick, doesn't he? But look at the time. Now the two of them fought cleanly, fairly, no contact at all. But look at the gap that the Maloney and Hammond cars have been able to pull out in front just from that clean battle. Jason Bentz will... I'm very, very sure. I think he's the quickest of the 4 McLarens out there in that battle. We've also got a lap car, Min Park, a seasoned sim racers driver, gets out of the way well. Congratulations to you for the Marquee 1 team there. So great to see Min, who's had issues in the past, it has to be said, but his driving standards have improved dramatically. And just then, blue flags were going crazy, did the right thing, got out of the way, and let the boys race on.
Yeah, got out of the way, and that's good. A lot of this lap traffic are doing that. As we look at Michael Hammond as well, flashing the headlights. There's a couple of cars on the inside, and it's Peter Sattler, and they've actually made contact on the inside, trying to let the field through. Oh, there's a little bit of cars everywhere there, but they've all managed to sort themselves out. Just lap guys letting them through, which is good to see. And there's a car around in the background. I think that was a lap car, and it's got Alex Cherney involved as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of lap cars at the moment, and their times are considerably slower than the top guys. And if we look at our qualifying from before, our pole man with a 27.5, but we had cars 3, 4, 4.5, 5 seconds off the pole time. So there's going to be a major time speed difference between some of these cars.
Yeah, and it'll definitely catch a lot of these leaders out, catching these slower cars in positions that they thought they may not, and it holds up you a little bit, and you get a little bit frisky and on edge and wonder what you're going to do about it. But as some of these guys let them through, you can just work your way around them. If everyone has a nice courtesy and good sportsmanship, you can get around them nice and cleanly, but accidents do happen. But sometimes it's better for these lap cars to move over and let the leaders through. As actually Benz is around. Bence is around. I've just caught the end of that. Bence has lost a lot of positions here. He lost it coming through the second corner through Williams, and he's managed to regather it, but I think he has dropped down to at least 10th, and there's another car around in front of him. That's Muhammad Ali Ishaq. He's around as well. Yeah, he's around in the Archipelago racing car, a McLaren. He lost it, so a lot of these lead cars starting to lose it right now.
Probably just needing to find that they might be pushing it a little bit harder right now, because some of these guys will be considering pit stops, a bit of free air away from the lap traffic for a little while, so thinking to themselves they might be able to make up a bit of time. But what's happening here with these small mistakes, especially with Jason Bence, he was certainly looking very, very fast, has dropped numerous positions, did cross the start-finish line last time in 7th, and he's down
Hammond's
into
pitting,
11th.
sorry.
Oh,
Hammond
and there's another car spinning in front of Bence. So Bence has had to go off track there madly with the amount of cars spinning in front of him. That was some unbelievable avoiding action there by Jason Bence. I'll tell you what, they might be looking at pitting. And I think you were saying, was that right, that Mick Hammond is pitting?
Yeah, sorry to interrupt there. Yeah, I see Michael Hammond just at last minute. He came in the pit, so he's doing his stop now. We'll see where he comes out here. Just to watch on board, he's done his stop. Out he comes now. Wonder where he's going to come out. If he comes out in clean air, he may be alright, and he may have just slotted that in at the right time. He's done that really nicely, timed that really well, and has come in at the best position. There's a little bit of an air gap. He's got a couple of cars in front of him that are yet to make their stop, but it's a nice position for him to be in, and he could maybe start to get a little bit of an undercut here from some of those lead guys that he was battling with.
Yeah, I don't think he will get the undercut. I really don't, because he's not taking new tyres, not taking any fuel. It is really just a stop-go. The benefit that he's got right now is that it's a clean track. He's got Martin Silvasi in that magnificent looking, was that Apex Bandits? What is that?
Apex Mafia Racing.
Yeah, there you go. You said it, heard it there. So in the Gold Coast Titans colours there, Martin from the Gold Coast in the car 010 in 14th position. So he's got him, and Martin's lap times haven't been too shabby, 29.9 last lap. I'd expect Mick Hammond to make gains. I'd say he'd be on him in the next lap and a half. It's then whether he can start getting through these guys.
Yeah, that's one thing that will hurt him, is this traffic, and that's the position he's in at the moment. He's got a little bit of time that he can actually use and gain, and especially when you look into the guy who was battling Maloney, and he did a 29.7 the last lap. So if Maloney sticks to that pace, and he can maybe push out a couple of 28s in his clean air, not having to worry about people behind him starting to push, he can just focus on knives forward, and he may be able to punch out some quick laps and start to get a little bit of a gain on Maloney at the moment.
Yeah, well, Maloney's last lap of 29.7. It's great to see the TTL guys getting amongst this. I think it was Richard Hampstead we saw a couple of weeks ago at Indianapolis, Sam Sutton, and I'm not sure whether Josh Rogers was there as well, yeah. But certainly good to have the TTL representative. And I'm thinking to myself that these TTLR, which is a combo deal between TTL and TTR, have got a team with Dylan Sharman, Madison Down, and Richard Hampstead running in the BS Pro Series. I'm thinking to myself, and there hasn't been a confirmation, that TTL will be making a full-on assault to try and get their pro license or their own car into the Pro Series for 2017. And this is what you're going to do. You're going to go out there and do laps now and get used to this car. It's completely different to the V8 supercar that the guys normally drive. And the more laps they get done now, the easier it will be later on for them.
Yeah, that's right, especially when you're trying to get into this Pro Series. The BES Pro Series is a prestigious series now, and a lot of people are trying to get into it, especially with the GT cars being the cars that everyone wants to drive, and it certainly shows here today with a 57 strong field. It shows that the GT cars are where it's at the moment. People want to be driving them, and it just goes to show the caliber of drivers as well, as we see Benjamin Smith right now, just a little bit of an update, 6 seconds in front of Anthony Winkelman, so he is continuing to push on in that Mercedes, and he's just doing what he does best. He is a Pro Series driver for Evolution Racing Australia, so we'll be competing in the BES, but he's definitely showing his muscle here tonight in SRA.
In the 13th position there, car number 1, Mick Hammond. This is where it's going to start getting interesting. He's so busy flashing his lights on the main straight there of the car in front. Martin does not need to give way. There are no blue flags waving, so Mick's going to have to earn this. He's going to have to make the move. Martin does not have to get out the way as they go around that long right onto the back straight. They've got the BMW, the Apex Racing BMW of Alex Marshall in front of them, but you know, these guys, this is where Mick's going to start getting a little bit desperate here. Even if he can get through Martin, he's still got Alex in front. These guys don't have to get out the way, and that's the risk of actually pitting that little bit earlier.
Yeah, that's right, and these guys don't have to move out of the way like you're saying, Brenton. They can just sit there, run their own race. They don't have to move out of the way for Michael Hammond. Hammond will be wanting them to do that, but they don't have to. He's going to have a look here at Martin going down into Redmond Corner. He's going to get that one dart. Martin leaves him enough room there. He did a good job there. Won't be able to have another look going into Hobbs, so he's just going to sit in behind him and just float around there. Maybe use Hammond as a little bit of a pull and just get him up to the back of Alex Marshall here in the BMW for Apex Racing TV, and just get up to the back of him and just float past him depending on how Hammond, where he attacks him.
Yeah, well, let's have a look at that lap time of Mick Hammond as he crosses the strike here. It's a 1:30.0, and you want to compare that to the car that he was driving next to before. I'm just trying to chase him down.
Maloney, 29.3 for Maloney.
29.3, so there's a 7/10 there. So straight away, already, give or take the pit stop, there's already been a virtual change in position there. And again, Mick is so busy flashing his lights. Just concentrate on your driving, Mick. It will happen, but Alex doesn't need to get out of the way, and we can keep concentrating on this battle as he doesn't get that good a drive. I would have thought he'd be getting a good drive there, still madly flashing his lights, but this is a battle for position right here.
Yeah, that's right. It's battle for position. He doesn't need to move. Martin actually was thinking of having a look as Alex runs a bit wide there. Maybe letting Michael through on the inside, but if he holds it tough here, he may be able to keep it, and he does. So he's going to hold it tough on the inside of Michael Hammond. Not going to give up that easy, and he doesn't have to coming through Piper Corner now. He's going to sit there on the inside. He may be able to still be on the inside going to Redmond's, but I think he's not going to have the drive, and he doesn't. So Hammond got that job done, but it took him a couple of corners to get it done, and he would have lost a lot of time. But at the moment, he's got a bit of a gap in front of him. He may be able to push on.
Yeah, well, now the runway's truly open in it. There's nothing in front of him that he needs to worry about. But again, I think the time that he's going to be losing there behind Alex and behind Martin, and those guys are going to be right to do what they did. There's nothing malice in that at all. Mick Hammond will cross the strike of 30.017 last lap, a 30.5. So, yeah, he's lost, I'm not going to say a lot of time, he's lost an uncomfortable amount of time.
Yeah, he lost couple of tenths of a second there. When you look at Maloney, did a 29.7, so comfortably lost about a second over these past couple of laps, and that will definitely put him behind Maloney. Maloney was there in front of him, so he's now got this clean air though. He may be able to push on and gain a little bit of a gap, but definitely those two, Alex Marshall and Martin Silvassi, they didn't have to move out of the way. They did the right thing and had a battle with him, and they can keep going. As actually, I think Martin's going to be catching Alex Marshall down the back, and he may be able to have a look down the inside the hairpin, and he does. And I think Alex is going to make that easy for him, and he does as well. So Martin move him up into P11.
Looking at the third and fourth position again, these two ERA cars, one of them is going to need to think about pitting soon. Looks like we've had some problems. Was that Scotty Goodman? I'm not sure if I saw before, but not happy with what's going on there over the team radio. But if you're Simon Feigl, you'd probably be thinking this is a time to pit. He's been a little bit faster than Tim Jackson throughout the race from what we can see. That might not be true. He might be just struggling to keep up with him. It doesn't look that way. He looks fairly comfortable. So the car's 99 and the car's 85, the MPMS racing simulator cars are coming up to some lap traffic here. Looks like, oh gee, that's a unusual way of doing business for that lap car there, but these guys have got through cleanly. We're on lap 18 with 27 minutes into this race. Still a lot of racing to go, but right now, maybe Simon Feigel's thinking of pit.
Yeah, well, I think it's a good position for him to pit now. When you look at it, he'll be coming out just in front of Michael Hammond. And when you think of the gap that Michael Hammond's got in front of him, it may be a nice little job for him just to pit and slot into that little gap, that little air cushion that Michael Hammond has in front of him. And if he can do that well, he may be able to get a bit of a gain here, Simon Feigl, on Timothy Jackson and just move up that another position. But those MPMS Evolution Racing Australia cars are doing really well right now. We've got 1, 3 and 4 at the moment, so they're doing good.
I've just got a feeling that, hoping it's not Alex Young again, the car 889, Chandra Young, sorry, in the 27th position. He's the gold Grandma's Curtains car there. That has got to be the most spectacular paint that we saw over a couple of seasons ago, and he's had his pit stop now. It comes out in front of that battle for 3rd and 4th, but yeah, it's good to see Chandra still out there battling around. A seasoned competitor in the Sim Racers Asia Series, down in 27th position at the moment in that very striking BMW, but probably just a bit off the pace for tonight.
Yeah, just a bit off the pace, not where he'd like to be, especially with the pit stop that he had then. I don't think that was where he ran past his box and missed it, but he's able to regather now and lost a little bit of time, but he's back on the track. But at the moment the field is sort of spreading out and they're just starting to get their pit stops sorted. Still out in front, Benjamin Smith, Anthony Winkleman in second, Timothy Jackson with Simon Feigl in behind them. Maloney's still out there, hasn't pitted. Just going to have a look back to Michael Hammond as well, and he is still out there in P10, but he's not gaining any time on Maloney and just floating around, so that'll play out towards the end.
I tell you what, if you're talking to Maloney at the moment, you'd be saying this is the time to pit. You're going to get your pit stop done. As long as you've got your tyres and your fuel turned off, have to have those turned off. If you don't, you're going to be in all sorts of problems. You're going to lose a hell of a lot of time. But if you're spotting for Jake Maloney right now, as I hope someone from TTL is, you tell him to come in and pit, capitalise on that position.
Yeah, definitely. So we've got a good battle going on here from 22nd through to 24th. We've got Lance Hawes, Daniel Leet, and Nathan Browden. These three are battling hard. 2 Mercedes and a BMW. They were just too wide going down the front straight between Daniel Leet and Lance Hawes, but they managed just to keep it all straight, couldn't get the position done there. So now they're line astern at the moment. Daniel Leet may have another look going down into the hairpin here on Lance Hawes, but I think he's a bit too far back. He may be in the... Yep, here goes Nathan Growden having a look down into the hairpin. He left the door open there, but it wasn't able to get the car down there. So this battle right now from 22nd through to 24th is really good.
Yeah, it is. Daniel Leet, the is it Simulate IT or is it Angry Birds racing car? Their skins look so much the same. I think it's an Angry Birds livery I see on the front.
Angry Birds, yeah.
Yeah, definitely Angry Birds. Lance Hawes with the Kimmage Rural fencing car out in the front of this pack. He's made some good position. And Nathan Growden in the BMW. There's just Mercedes-Benz everywhere, isn't it? I did not think that there'd be this many Miss Mercs running at this stage of the series, but they are looking incredibly strong. Lance Hawes has done a pretty good job, it has to be said, from 34th on the grid up into 22nd. Sure, there's been some cars have already had a pit stop, but doing a really, really solid job. And a deep move there by Nathan Growden.
Yeah, very deep. Wasn't able to get the job done. I think he thought of it and then thought better of it at the last minute. Did want to hit Daniel Leet, so he sits in behind him again. And Daniel Leet actually got a really nice run there. He may be able to have another look onto, and he does, on Lance Hawes coming into Atwood Curve, and he's down the inside, fires it down there. Oh, Lance Hawes just seen him at the last minute, gave him the room, but they're going to be side by side here. Nathan Growden may be able to have a look as well. He'll get the benefit of a better run out of that final corner and have a go. But look who's behind them. Is that Benjamin Smith? It is too. So the leader is starting to catch them. And with these guys battling, it's just going to be interesting to see who accepts the blue flag and move out of the way. Growden going around the outside. Leet just falls back in line, but here comes Benjamin Smith. He'll be wanting to get through these guys as quickly as possible.
Ben Smith's got an 8.5 second lead at the moment. If I'm calling Ben Smith's race right now, I'm saying get out of the way, either pit stop, although he's got through one of the three at the moment. So good driving there by Nathan Growden. I think there's a bit of a problem there. Has he got through the second one? Yes, he has. So he's gone through 2 out of the 3. So just Lance Hawes to go through. And look at the difference. Just, you know, these guys have done the right thing here, Daniel Leet and Nathan Growden. But look how much they've dropped off Lance Hawes in front. No doubt that will come back to him when Lance eventually does the right thing. Blue flag will be waving. He doesn't need to get out of the way right yet, but he will be getting out of the way soon. Nathan Groudon again having a bit of a look at Daniel Leet there. These guys are on lap 21, the leader now on lap 22.
Yeah, just want to update, we got Anthony Winkleman in the pits now, so Anthony Winkleman coming in for his stop, as well as Jake Maloney, I just seen in the background in the Mercedes for TTL. So we got two of the top 5 in the pits at the moment. Let's see where these guys come out. So Winkleman just done his stop, he is out and away. He is in a nice clean little bit of air at the moment. Maloney is the one to watch, because we've got to remember Hammond was battling him. Hammond's just coming on the front straight now. Here comes Maloney, in the pits for a long time. Hammond has passed him, so Hammond actually made a gain there on Maloney, so a slow stop for Maloney, and he's lost a lot of time there to Hammond.
Yeah, that was that little bit slower, wasn't it? And it really is just a stop, bang, go, let's get on with it, and a definite bit of a gap there. So yeah, Mick Hammond, last few laps to be fair though, have been pretty good. 29.8 last lap, 29.6, 30.1, 29.8, 29.7. So his last 5 laps have been really consistent. So probably made up that ground that he originally lost.
Yeah, just made up that little bit of ground that he lost. But now what do you do with these guys up front in the traffic? Simon Feigl, Timothy Jackson, knowing that he pit as well as Benjamin Smith. He's in these little battles that he's trying to get around. He's got a lot of lap traffic in front of him. I think if someone was in his ears, actually that's behind them. That's Lance Hawes and Nathan Groudon going at it again. Groudon actually on the inside here. He may be able to get it done for P number 22. He's going to have a look on Lance Hawes. He may get that done, and he has. Oh, a little bit wide there. He got a little bit sideways. Lance Hawes is still there. Thought better of it, backed out of it. So Nathan Groudon got that job done and has moved up another position into P22.
So at 170 kilometres an hour into turn 1 around the outside, it's a great job by Nathan Groudon. And Lance Hawes looks like he's on the chopping block right now, doesn't he? Because he looks like he's going to drop another position here to Daniel Leet in the Angry Birds Racing. Certainly got the better of the drive out of the two. Lance is going to have the benefit of Groudon's BMW in front with the draft, but I reckon it's going to be Daniel Leet holding the high ground here. Yes, it is. So a couple of positions dropped by Lance Hawes, thinking that this might be a good time to pit, just to get the old head together, and let's just get to settle down. He's dropped a couple of spots. Nathan Groudon's driven away from these two, so a good chance just for these guys to have a pit stop. Yeah,
that's right. And the people behind them that will be wanting to come in as well will be Timothy Jackson and Simon Feigl. Just having a look now, they're starting to catch some people. I think if you were Simon Feigl, I think he should be pitting in the next couple of laps just to try and get out of this mess, because it is a mess in front of them. A lot of black cars. Yes, some of them will do the right thing, move out of the way, but you're still going to lose time. If we think back to what happened to Michael Hammond, he lost some time as well. So if I was these two, I'd be wanting to get out of it and just try and get into a bit of cleaner air, but at the moment they're staying out and they've still got a lot of these cars to get around.
Actually really surprised Simon hasn't pitted yet, because I would have thought he would have pitted early. And DK Lee's, these guys have been behind DK for a while, and DK is pretty clumsy, to be honest with you, the way that he's had to get these guys past. So the MPMS ERA cars continue on, but it looks like they lost a bit of time. They got their host Mark Lang in front of them. Mark won't be a problem getting by. He always does the right thing with the blue flags, no doubt about that. Mark does a fantastic job week in, week out running the series. Still recovering from a nasty accident that he had not so long ago. But look at the traffic in front of these two guys in second and third position. If they're not thinking this is the lap to pit, then they have lost their marbles.
Yeah, that's right. I know I'd be pitting definitely in the next couple of laps, as well as Benjamin Smith stuck in some traffic behind Gary Cousins. I thought the championship leader for the clubman, I think it is just holding him up. He's actually letting him through now. So Benjamin Smith, I think, would be best positioned for these ERA cars to come in now and get this stop done, because there is just traffic for days in front of them. And if they don't do it now, as I just see Benjamin Smith goes through, so he stays out for another lap. Timothy Jackson, Simon Feigl, they're still in this gaggle of cars. If I was one of them, I'd be coming in. I don't know. There's a car coming in front of them. Oh, which sort of blocked the exit.
The pit entry, didn't it?
Yeah, so we blocked the entry. So even if one of them were thinking of coming in, they couldn't. And all this is doing is that Anthony Winkleman make a little bit of ground on those two in front of him, as well as Benjamin Smith, who is having to deal with this little lap traffic, and maybe just be able to gain a little bit on him at the moment.
Well, one for the ERA team right now, they're running 1, 2 and 3, and I can tell you that in all the years of Sim Racing Asian Series, that's never happened before. There's never been a team running first, second and third, so yeah, I know Winkleman had his pit stop, but still a little bit of bragging rights there for that team. Tell you what, just a short little attention here to the position 24, the car 35, Charles De Sierra. This is a guy who did a lot of GT3 racing a while ago. It's so fantastic to see Charles back in this series in the Mercedes-Benz. He lived in Singapore, moved over to the UK for his studies at university, and obviously he's found himself just that little bit of a time to get back involved in the Sim Racers Asia Series.
Yeah, he's actually doing really well in 24th. He had a little bit of a mistake early on, so to see him down in 24th, he's sort of up from where he was when he was all piled in a lot of cars. He had a little bit of spin, a little bit of damage, so he's actually been able to gain some ground. As I think behind them I see Timothy Jackson and Simon Feigl getting a little bit feisty here at the moment, so the two of them starting to figure out what they're doing, and they're both in the pits. So let's see if Benjamin Smith also is pitted, just going to know. So these two, Timothy Jackson and Simon Feigl, have come in. They're going to get their stop done together, which is an interesting call.
Surprising. Yeah, really surprising, and there's not going to be any difference here with fuel or anything like that. It is just going to be stop, get on it, go. So let's see who can stop and go quicker, I guess, because there shouldn't really be any change here. It's where they come out in traffic. These guys qualified right next to each other. Stop for Simon, he's overshot. Tim has overshot as well. What has gone on there? That is about a pit stop these guys, and he's gone way over the. What has happened there? Tim Jackson has lost so much time, and he's still not out the pits properly. So disaster there for the Jackson car, and he's going to know that last week he threw away the win, and right now he's gone behind Jake Maloney, so he has lost so much time. So he's lost position to Maloney, Conlon. And where is Mick Hammond in all this?
Yeah, we've lost Hammond. Hammond is out of this race. Unsure as to what is happened, but Hammond is out. He is out of this one.
Okay, so unfortunate for Mick Hammond, the car number one, but gee whiz, that's really released Simon Feigl, hasn't it? And both the guys, Simon overshot the pit just by a fraction, but gee whiz, Tim Jackson had overshot the pit by as much as I've ever seen the car overshoot the pit. So that's he's let himself down there a little bit. He'll enjoy the chase now though, but wow, look at the gap that he has lost towards Simon, and Simon had a slow stop.
Yeah, and he's actually lost 2 spots. Simon didn't lose any spots there. He only lost a spot to Anthony Winkleman, who had pitted previously, but he's lost a spot, Jackson, to Jake Maloney and Danny Conlon. So he's lost 2 spots there, as well as all that time to Simon Feigl. So he's lost a lot of time and positions. He will have a blast trying to make his way back through this field, but that's something you wouldn't want to do after throwing the race away last week, and it'll be playing on his mind, that little mistake, and it could lead to some other little ones towards the end.
Yeah, looking forward to having a chat with him to see what went wrong, to be honest with you, because he was directly in front of the car 85 of Feigl, who's lengthy time behind our leader. But as Simon, it's back to Jackson. It's 11 seconds for such a simple stop go. It's turned into an absolute disaster, and Jackson will be chasing down the Maloney car, the car 67 for 5th and 6th now.
Yeah, and I just see Smith is coming in the pits now, so he's left it till sort of as late as possible, about 40 minutes into this one, and he's coming in, so he's going to come and just get the stop done. Hopefully he doesn't jump the marks like his 2 teammates there did, so if he can get this one in quick, just get it out. He had about an 8-second gap to Anthony Winkleman before Anthony stops, so Anthony may not have been able to make a little bit of ground here and there, but if Ben just straight on the marks, looks like he's done alright. He's gonna bit slow there. Yeah, that was long, so he's lost a bit of time, but he's come out in clean air. He could afford to lose a little bit of time, I think a bit too much than what he needed, but he's still come out in the lead comfortably in front of Anthony Winkleman, who's just going into turn 1 now.
Well, there's absolutely no doubts that he stopped, so yeah, that can't be questioned. But wow, it's something that these boys will need to work on. We have to probably give a bit of leg rope there for Smithy, because it is his first race in this series, and And I know that our host Mark Lang will be asking for the driver of the day, and at the moment as it stands, hard to go past on a debut race starting from pole, leading from start to finish at the moment. If he gets this job done, I know who I'll be putting my hand up for as driver of the day. It's a bit of a no-brainer if you ask me. But in the meantime, the battle here is really going to be whether Tim Jackson can chase down Jake Maloney.
Yeah, that's right, and that's where the battle's going to be at. Till just long left now, and Jackson is gaining a little bit of ground on Maloney. He gained 7/10 last time by, so if you can keep that sort of pace up, you may be able to get to him. But it's one thing to catch a guy, it's another to pass, especially in these GT cars. Not a lot of opportunities to pass there is, but there isn't in some sense. Like, especially if you can hold that inside line, you're not going to make it and get it done around the outside. More often than not, you're not going to get it done. So we'll see how this happens. Maloney right now looks like he's losing a bit of time. Definitely Jackson is pushing hard, a little bit of dirt going up, but he's we'll see what happens here. He's definitely making inroads. The gap is definitely closing, and may run out of time.
Yeah, I think they will. I'm looking for the first Audi at the moment, and it's Matt Shinosky in position 13. But even now, he's got some pressure behind him from the McLaren of Ilham Halabi, the car 46 there. So, gee whiz, who would have thought this time last week the first Audi would be in 13th position? It's certainly, I would have thought, to be honest with this track would suit the Audi and the BMW and not so much the Mercedes, but really, really surprised how well the Merc has gone here. But the Audi certainly is struggling down in 13th.
Yeah, definitely struggling, but he's come from 30th on the grid, so a lot of ground he has made up actually to be in P13. Two in front of him, Alex Marshall from 20th in 11th, and Lachlan Crowe in the another Mercedes down in 12th. He started 22nd, so a lot of those guys just there on the outside of the top 10 made a lot of ground up, and it's good to see these guys are not so good in quality but have been able to benefit from the race.
And just having a look here, the battle with Maloney and Jackson has certainly tightened right up. This is for 5th and 6th. So, gee, time must be chicken away. I haven't seen the white flag as yet, but it must be getting really, really close.
Yeah, I think when Benjamin Smith goes over, we are 2 minutes to go on the clock. Yeah, there is. So he's just crossed the line, 43 minutes and 16. So about a minute 44, about a minute 30 now by the time where Benjamin Smith is. So these two guys coming through the final corners now through Mike Knight corner, coming into the last one now, and may be able to have a look going to turn 1, Timothy Jackson. There'll be a couple of laps. We'd have about 2 laps to go, I think, and may be able to get it done. Maybe have a look down into the hairpin.
Yeah, there'll be 2 laps to go for these guys, so yeah, it's funny, isn't it? We say 2 laps to go, it doesn't sound like, but there's plenty of time to go for Tim Jackson to make this move on this TTL car in front of him. Try and say that with a mouthful of marbles underwater. But, Maloney's done a really, really good, solid job. He's not the lead TTL driver, but he certainly is tonight. He's done a fantastic job. And at the moment, he's got himself up into 5th position. And I reckon if you asked him at the start of the race if he'd be happy with that, well, I'm sure the answer would be yes. But Jackson right now looking really, really attacking him. Maloney taking the real early defensive line. And way deep under brakes. Way deep under brakes.
Yeah, he's ran deep there and he's put Jackson on the outside. Wasn't able to get the job done going through Revolver corner there. He's going to come through Piper but won't be able to have a look there. He may be able to have a look going into Redmond. Just going to maybe be a bit too far back at the moment, but he's definitely harassing the back of Maloney now. He's all over the back of him, and Jackson definitely wants to get this spot done to get a nice top 5.
Well, the guys who finish in the top 5 are the ones who make the least mistakes. Maloney has not made a mistake yet. We saw the mistake that Jackson made in the pit lane. It was unbelievable how long that was. And hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to Tim Jackson after the race to see what actually went wrong. But they would be on the last lap now, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen a white flag now, but I think they will be on the last lap. But here we go. So we got Maloney and Jackson here right now, and Jackson lost a little bit of ground. Yeah, coming through Williams, maybe able to have a little bit of a dive into Atwood curve, but we'll just sit behind him, I think, and get a little bit of a run down the back straight, as there is a battle going on between Benson Cherney as well for P7 and 8.
Yeah, what there also is also Ben Smith has going to. He's looking really comfortable, and we're going to make sure we try and catch up with him here because he's dominated this race from start to finish, and we'll make sure we catch up that battle with Jason Bence and Alex Cherney for sure. But as Benjamin Smith rounds the last turn, being a truly dominant position throughout the race, and the MPMS simulated team, Evolution Racing Australia team, a great debut for their new sponsor, has taken the win here. Congratulations to Ben Smith. Awesome performance there. Looks like there might be some dramas behind. I can hear Tim Jackson saying some issues. No change in position. So just got to try and find that battle with Alex Cherney and Jason Bence. This is for 8th and 7th and 8th. Doesn't look like there's going to be any change there as well. Though Jason got a really good run deep on the brakes, but just loses all that wheel spin on the exit, so loses the rears. Good effort by the two boys. I think they'll be quite happy with that, especially Alex in the McLaren, which generally looked more uncompetitive tonight. And wow, what an amazing race that we had.
Yeah, great job there. It's just having a look back. We've got Daniel Leet here having a go with Gary Cousins in P17 and 18. So coming through Redmond, and they'll go into Hobbs. Not close enough at the moment is Leet, but he could have maybe a look into the final corner. He can try and get it done. He's still going to be there. He's run a bit wide, so he'll lose all the momentum that he had. So I think Gary Cousins will hold on to that. But this shows the battles all the way through the field. This is for 17th and 18th. It's never over till the end, and the big field has always produced great racing.
Well, it's almost turned into Formula Mercedes, hasn't it? And yeah, it was a fantastic race. And next week, though, it'll be interesting. Next week we've got. Can you imagine this? We could have 60 cars lined up on the grid at Sonoma with a reverse grid race. That is going to be chaos. Absolute chaos. Looking forward to that already. In the meantime, Jake, if you could take us through the results, that would be fantastic. And what was ultimately a pretty good race, considering the size of the field, the type of the track. There wasn't really that many incidents. So Kevin Huang was going to crack his whip this week and make sure the penalty stuck a bit more. And I think that little talk might have done the field pretty good, because it was a pretty clean race. Hand the results over to you, Jake.
Yeah, great race, and it was well done to Benjamin Smith taking out the win here today at Okayama, ahead of Anthony Winkelman in the BMW, with Simon Feigl rounding out the podium in the MPMS Racing Simulator Mercedes. Then you got Danny Conlon in 4th with Maloney in 5th. Then you got Jackson 6th, Alex Cherney in 7th, good result in the McLaren. Jason Bence in 8th after his spin, maybe a little bit disappointed with that. Paul Longerin in 10th, Alex Marshall for Apex Racing TV in 11th, good job from him. Lachlan Crowe in 12th, LM Halabi in 13th from 53rd on the grid, that's a great result. Matt Shinosky in 14th, Nathan Groudon in 15th, Gary Cousins and Daniel Leet 16th and 17th respectively, Charles Teresa in 18th, Martin Silvassi in 19th, and that is rounding out our field of lead lap cars. Then you got Jacek Fresek in 20th, so the rest of them will be on your screens as follows. So great racing, a lot of cars, 57 cars, and it's just great racing throughout.
Scared the hell out of me then, Jake. I thought you were going to read through every single car there with the result, and geez, glad you didn't do that. Now we've got to make sure the sim ring experience, I'm hoping I'll get that right. You can make sure, watch out for them as well. Proud sponsors of this sim racing experiences. Sorry, AC. Proud sponsors of this broadcast. So don't be remiss of me not to mention that. But well, I have to ask you, Jake, who is your driver of the round?
Well, it is hard to go past Benjamin Smith. First time here, he drove an excellent race from start to finish. Put it on pole by a couple of tenths and then just drove away from the rest of the field. It was a stellar drive. He even had a little bit of a bobble in the pits, but still was able to win by 10.6 seconds over Anthony Winkelman, who has done this series a lot. So to be able to do that first race in, it's definitely a great drive from me.
Yeah, it is, and that would be giving my vote as well. So, Ben Smith, congratulations. This week, you are the driver of the day, and Mark Lang will be making contact with you, hopefully. So, Yeah, it was a dominant performance, led pole position, led from start to finish on a debut race. Really hard to go past Ben Smith, and we'll be taking some interviews shortly, if that's all right. We've got to mention. Sorry, we'll just go through Ilham Halabi here. Have a look at this from 53rd on the grid, 53rd, 5-3 on the grid, up into 13th. That is an unbelievable performance. You missed that. Not going to quite get driver of the day. If it was your debut race, Ilham, no doubt you would. But 53rd on the grid to 13th, fantastic performance by him. And just other notables have to look out for. Lance Horse to 34th, up into 21st. Paul Nelson had some issues, 40th up into 24th. But and also probably to a lesser extent Paul Lonergan from 16th to 9th. But yeah, Ilham Alabi, 53rd to 13th, a great performance. We've got some of the guys ready to take an interview now, if you're okay with that, Mr. Director. We'll bring Simon Feigl up here for Evolution Racing Australia. Simon, fantastic performance tonight, third position in the Mercedes-Benz. I know you drive a fair bit of the Audi in the SEK Series run here in Australia on Sunday nights, but fourth on the grid, third in the race. Had a bit of a battle with your teammate Tim Jackson there. Tell us a bit about the race.
Yeah, that was a really good race. Got off to a pretty good start, but it was, when you're around your teammates, you never really want to go too crazy. And then also, to add insult to injury, my headset cut out through turn 2, so that was it's always dicey. So I had to quickly switch it off and switch it back on. But then, settled into a rhythm, and I felt like I probably had a little bit more pace than Jacko, really in that first little section, probably say 10 laps or so. And we lost a bit behind Anthony at that sort of stage, and I had Hamid right up behind me as well. But the early phase was pretty intense. But then, once we sort of pulled a gap, then it was pretty much holding station, getting through the traffic as best as we could, and then getting to that pit stop.
Have to tell us though, when you pitted, it was an absolute dog's breakfast with the two of you. I was surprised, to be honest with you, that you did both pit at the same time. But upon you being in the pit, saw that you overshot your pit bay by a little bit. But I have no idea what happened to Tim Jackson. Hoping he's going to come and talk to us as well. But what happened in the pits? Yeah,
so basically it's just a case of being tucked up behind Jacko going in. So by the time, because we pitted we qualified P3 and P4. Our pit stalls are right next to each other, so it meant that coming in, I was right behind him and just didn't really have too much time to react. So I overshot, had to go back, go forward. So mine wasn't too bad. It was unfortunately for Jacko, he had a brake failure coming in. So that was why his was as costly as it was.
Yeah, dropped 11 seconds to you and the Evolution Racing Australia team this week. A significant sponsorship announcement. No doubt you'd want to give a shout out to those.
Yeah, no, absolutely. MPMS Racing Simulators are our new sponsor. We've been working with them now for only a few weeks, but really, really good bunch of guys. There's quite a lot that we're going to be able to do together, and it's great to have them on the car. I think the Mercedes looks beautiful with this livery, so really pleased to have them on board. Yeah,
Night Rider Designs do a really good job. Simon, well done to you. Next week we're off to, I just said it before, Sonoma, a reverse grid race. That's going to be absolute chaos.
Yes, it sounds like it. I have good memories of Sonoma from the Australian GT Championship race in the BMW. So Mercedes is a different beast, but I like the track. So I think with this car, which seems to be going really, really well for us, I feel like we're going to be on for a good result there.
Well, good job, Simon. Third place tonight in what was a really interesting race for that team. We're just going to drag Charles Tessier up here, not for the fact that Charles came 18th tonight. Good job there by Charles. But the fact that Charles has been away from the series for so long, born, bred Singapore, moved over to the UK. It's fantastic to have Charles back here with us after such a long race in round 3 of the Sim Racers Asia Championship. Charles, welcome to the broadcast.
Hi, good to be back, man. Good to see you guys still doing the same thing, and it's cool, yeah. So many people now in this race, so it's pretty cool.
Well, tell us a bit about the race, Charles. 18th on the grid and finished 18th. Weren't able to pick up any positions, but looked like you drove a pretty good, steady race. Tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, I mean, the start was really, really hectic actually. The driving was a bit questionable in some spots. Got the door closed on me a couple of times, which is a bit hard but fair. Like I went to the pits, got a repair, came back out, I think 50th or 40 something, and just drove like a pretty consistent race. I think his setup was more limiting to the pace rather than anything else. If I had a better setup, probably could have been better. But first race back after a long time, so it feels pretty good. The Mercedes is quick.
And Charles, mate, now that you're back for this, you've got a bit of a taste of it again, getting a bit hungry. Are we likely to see you for more series? Yes or no? Or more races, sorry.
Oh, I would love to. I need to take a look at the schedule, but I think I will be back this season. I don't know which car. I think the Mercedes feels really nice, but I like the Z4 too, so.
Well, I think, mate, now the rules will clearly state to you, young Charles, that once you've made that commitment to the car, you are with that car. And next week, Sonoma is a reverse grid race. Tight track there. And thanks to our host, Mark Lang, telling us that it's the first 10 positions are reversed. I couldn't imagine coming from 60. It's been the fastest car. Thankfully, Mark's got his head screwed on properly there. As always, Mark Lang doing a fantastic job. What's the chances of we seeing you next week for Sonoma?
Well, actually, 16th, it's going to be difficult. I'm going to be down in Silverstone for the European Le Mans Series. I've got a meeting with Dunlop, so it's going to be good. I'm going to be working with Dunlop, so probably you're going to see a bit of Dunlop sponsorship in the car, maybe. But yeah, I can't make Sonoma, but Monza definitely I will be there.
Well, our Alex Simpson, our gracious director tonight, is he's going to be there next week as well. There's 18 of the Apex Racing UK guys going there, Charles. So you make sure you keep your eyes open and have a chat with Alex after our interview. So well done to Charles. So mate, just personally between you and me, no one else is listening right now.
Yeah.
To us, it's so fantastic to see you back, Charles. Really happy that you're there.
Thank you. It's good to be back, man. Great to see you. Good to hear from you guys again.
Yeah, good to see you. Good on you, Jake. Sorry to Charles there. We've got Jake Maloney will be with us now. And Jake did a really good job. Mistake-free driving from Jake Maloney tonight for the TTL Cask car. And 7th on the grid up into 5th. Jake, welcome to Apex TV's broadcast of round 3 of the Sim Racers Asia Championship, brought to you by SRX and by simracingexperience.com. Tell us a bit about the race.
Yeah, the race was pretty good. Started in 7th. Probably didn't quite get the lap I wanted in qualifying. Bit of traffic out there in qualifying, but all in all, not too bad. And yeah, just started the race 7th. Moved up to 6th straight away and had a good battle with a few of the guys. Hammond had a few dives, and yeah, pretty good.
And tell us, Jake, the word going around is that TTL. You just see that you guys, let's face it, for those who don't know watching the broadcast out there in Asia and the rest of the world, TTL is an extremely strong team in the Australian V8 Supercar Series and always has their nose up there in the top positions week in, week out. Noticing the TTL guys just seem to be stretching out that little bit more into the GT3 territory, thinking that might be an assault for 2017 Pro Series. What can you tell us about that?
Probably going to look at having a few extra cars in Bez next year, but obviously a lot of us are all starting to focus on some GT3 setup work ahead of Bez this year with TTLR. So yeah, starting to do a bit of work, take a focus. Still got a lot of focus on the V8, but a lot of the guys are working hard on the GT3, and really shows because I had a great setup tonight.
And just for the rest of the world to know, what is there any favouritism at the moment that the TTLR team are going to be running for the BS Pro Series? Are they leaning towards the Mercedes?
I'm not too sure on that part of it. I think a bit of testing is going on at the moment, just see what we can, I guess, test them all out, see what's favoured at the moment. It's looking, based on a lot of the races I'm seeing so far, that the Mercedes is looking to be a pretty good car, but yeah, I'm not too sure what's going on with the TTLR side of things.
And next week it's Sonoma reverse grid for the top 10 cars. I know you spent a lot of time at Sonoma over the last week and a half with the V8s. Mate, what's your thoughts of driving this big, heavy McLaren around Sonoma? Mercedes,
I've actually
get it right in a sec.
Yeah, I've done a few laps of Sonoma in the Mercedes. I quite like the track. It's one of my favourites, so I'm looking forward to it. I'll definitely be there for that race.
Well, looking forward to seeing what you can offer next week, and hopefully a couple more of the TTL guys will come in. You know, like you said, what you can do now will help the guys in just under 2 weeks from now when the first round of the BS Pro Series starts at Monza. So good job for Jake Maloney there tonight. We've got the one more interview to go. We're going to bring our race winner up here. This is a guy who made his debut tonight. The car 151, the MPMS Racing Simulators car for Evolution Race Australia. Debut race, had to be working all day, came home late from work, did probably 1, maybe 2 laps of practice, put the car on pole position, led from the start, led to the finish, dominant position, 10.6 seconds win. My driver of the day, Jake Blackwell's driver of the day, Ben Smith, welcome to the broadcast. Tell us a bit about that race.
Oh, you guys are too generous. I had at least 10 qualifying laps to get up to speed, so yeah, no, it was great fun out there. Conditions are pretty good with it not being too warm. I think it was about 36 degrees track temp, so nice and easy on the tyres. Weren't struggling for grip too much at the end, so was able to look after tyres and generally produce pretty decent lap times throughout the race.
And with the BS Pro Series coming up in just under 2 weeks now, mate, obviously the attention goes towards either this car or another car that you may have not selected yet, but it's now full steam ahead towards that.
Yeah, so we got to choose a car for the Blank Paint Series in 2 weeks. So I was having a chat with the boys, and we were pretty comfortable in the Merc. So I tried it out tonight. Pretty happy with it. It's a bit of a chess game to see who's going to choose what, given you've got different classes, different prize money, and all that. So hopefully it all pans out pretty nicely for us in the Merc.
And next week at Sonoma, next Saturday night, are you planning on running again? Because it was a really, really good debut.
Oh, you can't complain about a flag-to-flag victory. So, depending on what's going on, if I've got nothing to do, I'll jump on and give it a bit more practice. It's always good to get some seat time in a car that you've going to compete with some really good talent in over the year. So, of course, it'll be great to run some more times in the car.
And finally, mate, you had your teammate Simon Feigl and Tim Jackson up there as well. A strong performance by the Evolution Racing Australia team tonight.
Yeah, nice to get 2 MPMS Racing Simulator cars on the podium. My mate Simon from GT Academy, it's good to see him up there in the top flight racing where he's finally got up to speed with iRacing. So, hopefully he can produce some more good results like that.
Well, we should give a shout out to Simon. This guy's only brand new to iRacing, and he's improving every single week. And for him to, just be 17 and a bit seconds down on yourself after completely making a dog's breakfast of his pit stop was a fantastic result. So, just between the three of us, great job for Simon. I will tell you though that Ben, your sponsor from MDMS, is watching. Send me a couple of text messages. So, g'day to you, Ben. Keep up the good work down there in Brisbane. If anyone wants any racing simulation, make sure you get down to them. But mate, well done. Looking forward to seeing what you can bring to us next week here. That would be round 4 of the Sim Racing Asia Championship.
No worries, guys. Thanks for the broadcast. If you got any man cave stuff you want to do, you want to have a look at some sims, head on to mpmsracingsimulators.com and have a look and see what they've got.
Good on you, Ben Smith there, and I reckon, Jake, that might wrap us up for the week in what was a super race. A big field, looked like the racing was fairly clean throughout, and Anthony Winkleman, in what was really a Formula Mercedes race, did a fantastic job in that BMW in second position, and needs a special mention. Started second and got it all the way up into and kept it in second all the way through.
Yeah, it was a great race there throughout the field, and good to see some close battles. And it's one of the things that this series and these cars bring to life. And next week at Sonoma, that reverse 10, that'll shake it up a little bit and maybe make for a bit of an interesting race, especially like Benjamin Smith and Anthony Winkleman. If they can do what they did again with their top times, it'll be good to see them fly through the field.
Yeah, so yeah, looking forward again. Special mention tonight, Alex Simpson, as usual, he's let the microphone go tonight. He's got Scotty Newton with him tonight in the background. Alex, I think you got your mic turned off, Mike. Now, hopefully, you're happy with how Jake and myself went tonight. It was an exciting race, Alex, and one that I know that you'll be watching maybe again on the replay. But Alex, what are your thoughts on the race?
Great race, thoroughly enjoyed that as well. Different to be able to sit here quiet and just sit there and watch the race and enjoy you guys commentate on it. So a lot of battles throughout the field as well. So we got to cover quite a bit of that. So yeah, look forward to Sonoma as well. Yeah, 10 car reverse. That's not too bad. That'll make it a little bit more exciting for sure. And but yeah, again, if we're getting this sort of volume of cars on the track, it's going to be very, very tough. And I think the pit stop strategy is really going to come more and more into play when you take that. There's a few people there that lost quite a bit of time with the traffic, so I think they're going to have to manage that a bit better. Be people on the money next week with that, seeing what happened here.
Yeah, we'll be Alex. If you got the keys to the car, mate, if you want to see us out. But yeah, that was a great race, and on behalf of Jake Black or myself, we should be looking forward to seeing you for what will be a round 4 action next week at Sonoma. Alex, it's all yours.
Yeah, thanks, Brendan. Thanks, guys, for doing that as well. Just before we head off, there's still a few people. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, this evening we've also got the BSR Kia World Series as well. That's on Apex Racing TV and on iRacing Live, and we also have the 2K GT World Cup as well, coming from Okayama. So if you've enjoyed this race and you want a little bit more GT action, just tune in later on tonight. That's 8 o'clock GMT, that is. So hopefully you can work it out from there. But yeah, thank you everybody. Thanks guys for doing the commentary. We'll see you again in a week's time.